We got a great show tonight. We got Tim Senior back on. We're going to pick up where we left off on the last episode. We are packed full of a great show tonight. Tim's going to reveal what's in the suitcase. So I haven't seen it. I don't know. So my reaction will be like your reaction. We also got another new kind of Phoenix Lights video that dropped, another Bugosphere type video that dropped, and some interesting aero videos we're going to get into. This is the 4K Skywatching podcast. Happy Friday night.
Red alert!
Yeah, happy Friday, everyone, to the 4K Skywatching podcast, episode 47 tonight, again with Tim Senior. Happy to have him back. He is a wealth of information. He is going to tell us about what secret tech did he get in that box. This is an exciting story. Aside from the stories, we have a whole bunch of different videos to show you. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold. In ufology, it's burning hot right now. So we're going to have secret Skywatcher tech coming up first. That's going to be the main thrust of the show. We are going to go 2 hours tonight and cut off at 8. If we still have a lot of material left over, it'll be kicked into the next weekend. There's another Phoenix Lights type of video that's interesting. We're going to show that. Another type of Bugosphere video. So if you already have made up your mind on the Bugosphere and think it's fake, this is interesting. So hopefully this doesn't trigger you. And then Arrow is putting out some videos. They're finally doing the job the taxpayers are paying to do, is to put out some videos. They may not be the best videos, but at least they're putting something out. We are very spoiled people in the UFO community at this point, because I couldn't imagine back in the day that not only would the government say UFOs are real, but then they had official people with official jobs to post videos. Now we're at the point where we're spoiled and complaining these damn things ain't good enough for our standard. So what a time we live in. This is progression. People saying we're not making progress. Well, we make it so slow you sometimes don't see it. But I have a perspective of 3 decades looking back. So as the next years unfold, the next 5-10 years, we'll be having more things become commonplace that aren't commonplace today. Let me bring Tim Senior in here. Jim is a Skywatcher. He's a lot of things. He's an investor. He's got Skywatching equipment. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for a few years. So welcome into another episode of 4K Skywatching, Tim.
Hey there, Tom. Doing great. Tommy K. Another night looking out at the stars. Thanks for the invitation. Pretty excited to share some stuff and see what we can learn together.
Tim has a an AI camera on him or something like that that's following him around as he goes. So wherever Tim goes in his garage, it's gonna show some goodies. The network here is expanding. What we do here. Friend of mine, Dan Starsky, has been working with these IP cameras. He's bought one at least a couple of months ago, and I know he got UFODAP with it. And he got really frustrated with it. He got frustrated to the point where he was texting me saying, this goddamn stuff is junk. F it, because it is hard to hook up. And that's why I create some of these videos that you see how to hook up IP cameras under different circumstances and walked him through. He has his cameras up and running right now. So I want to bring this up. Dan has a new camera here. And let me show you what we got here. This is live right now. Dan's channel's up in the description. So make sure you check his channel out. He's got another live channel. I'm going to drop that in the chat real quick. That's where you can find Dan. Go ahead and like and subscribe over to his channel. His channel is going to grow too, because as you start getting IP cameras, as Tim knows, it's pretty hard to stop. You end up going, well, I need another one over here and another one over there. And then pretty soon you went from one camera to 2 to 3. Then you got a PO expander and a whole different network full of devices. So yeah, we do have live. So check that out. We'll be probably just leaving him as part of the OBS system and tuning in from time to time. Hopefully he gets UFODAP hooked up to that. Now, something else I want to get into before we get too far in the show is I was tinkering around with one of my cameras, and I want to show you something that I did. So what I did is one of my dome cameras has tons and tons and tons of controls. You can hook them up in an NVR or DVR, and you get limited controls from them. Or you can go into the browser, type in the IP address, log in there, and then you get a wealth of controls. So I found this control that's in this latest Yahoo camera that shows the zoom factor. You can turn that on. You can turn on the PTZ values, the temperature in the direction. So that's going to be up in the upper left-hand corner. So I'm going to switch over to that camera. So I'm on that camera right now. So up here where it says Southwest, 91 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know if it's accurate. I do know it's 80 degrees outside and it's a hot day. So you can see as I turn this camera, the position of it goes with it. And of course, 0 is dead north. T on this camera is the tilt. So when you're tilted up or what have you, it'll show you that on the screen. I think, this is really important information when you're using UFODAP. It gives you this stuff automatically for the cameras. But going forward with this camera, I'm going to have these values on the screen. So when I record something, I could see, okay, what was the zoom, what angle? Because usually you want to go back and go to that angle again and see if the thing comes back, right? So these values up here in the corner, you should check if you got a dome camera, and this is for dome cameras. Do you have any of that stuff? So I just wanted to relay that. I've had this camera, God, I don't know, 7-8 months. And, you don't dive into everything perfectly, but after a while you start going, what else does this do? What else has this got? So yeah, Dan's camera is pointed towards Prescott. in North Phoenix. Soon we'll have one above the Superstition. Dan is building another house. That's where we're doing another Skywatch over at Dark Sky Ranch. His other house is over by the Superstition Mountain. So eventually we'll have a camera there. So the network is growing. If you have a camera like this that you're streaming, send it over to me. I'll link up. We can look at that together. So anyway, that's kind of a roundabout what's going on with the gear right now. So I want to just bring the floor over to Tim. And I'll pick up where we left off. Tim was invited to Sedona by some people that are somewhat well known, and I don't want to spoil nothing. Tim, this is on you. You got the floor.
Yeah, Tom, thanks for the invitation to talk about this. So we try to hit the same locations every year so we can kind of collect the same data every year and kind of compare and contrast our notes. And so there's a few locations out in Arizona that we go to. One of them, obviously, Bradshaw Ranch, very popular location. We go there annually. And every year, we also try to meet with a different group and share information and kind of learn something from what they're doing in the location to see if there's anything that we can adapt into our technical gear or, picking a place on the map. And so the last time we went out, we've met with a group that has been doing work in Arizona, specifically Sedona, for roughly 2 decades. The group is relatively well known, run by a couple of gentlemen, one of them being Alan Steinfeld. And Alan has been doing deep research into spirituality and UFOs and the connection and the portals and things like that, the energies that are located out in Sedona, and investigating how these are all linked. And so Alan was kind enough to come out on location with us and show us some of the secret locations that he and his group go to find things in the skies. And we took all of our team members out, a lot of our gear, and set up for a night of investigation. Fairly lucrative. We used some kind of, I don't like to label it, but I would say just like a very relaxed, open calling for these sorts of things to come in. Now, I personally am a very nuts and bolts kind of person. So when it gets into the spiritual side, I kind of let the experts take over. So I specifically observed while this technique was performed by the group that was in front of me, as they specifically attempted to make contact with their abilities to bring things around for us to film with our gear. And we did manage to film some things that were fairly interesting and kind of yet to be dug into. We're a little bit behind in video, but it would be absolutely something that we could look at here on the show together. However, the following day, our group of investigators met with Alan Steinfeld's group of researchers and investigators for a big group meeting that they seem to do every week. And it's basically a meeting of minds where they take a look at UFOs historically and currently and politically and see how everything kind of comes together in an open discussion, kind of a forum. People bring videos, they bring comments, and they bring ideas. And while I was there, I met with some very interesting people that are deeply into the science aspect of investigating UFOs. And so I shared some of my secrets and they shared some of theirs. And a lot of our beliefs on how to do this kind of line up, where you need to have multiple devices running at the same time, so that if something interesting happens, you can say it's not just on video, but it's also on, for example, my atomic watch, a MUON detector rather. and also on my RF radar. I was getting some interesting hits on the radar. And so you can start to kind of pull information together and see how they all might be relating to an event. So after a long discussion on some of my techniques and what I've been doing for the past 5 years with my team, they decided that they would share some technology with me. Now, I understand right now my stream looks like it might be a little choppy. Tom, just to check in before I continue, is my sound okay and video okay for you guys?
Yeah, I'm playing a little bit behind the scenes. Your audio seems good, but I'm seeing it's kind of choppy on one of my other monitors. But I boosted up the stream a little bit. Let's just keep going on. And
okay, if you want to down res my video or something, that's fine too. So I guess without giving it too much more, I'll just kind of show you what they shared with me and explain how it came into their possession and who designed it and how it's how you can operate it in the field. And so I'm just gonna grab that here. And so it's obviously delivered in this extremely mysterious case. And my initial thought was that I was receiving something that perhaps I shouldn't. And when I learned who had designed it, then I really started to wonder if this was something that I should tamper with or not. But a lot of people do know Matthew Zedakis and the work that he does. He's an out-of-the-box thinking scientist and engineer that put together this device in particular. And so I will just go ahead and open this up. I think I might have it upside down. Yes, here we go. So just going to turn it around and show you what it looks like.
So it came like that in that briefcase with just like that, huh? That's interesting.
That's correct. Yeah, and so it's got 2 charging units and cables and 2 polar devices. And I say polar devices meaning that one is set up for K-band radar, and the other is set up for long distance radar. And the idea is that you triangulate or basically have these at an angle far apart from each other. If you could, the further apart, the better. And you want to kind of cross the signal. And the concept is that one of these devices is set up to basically track a speed that can be over 1,000 miles an hour. So it's kind of hard to explain this in layman's terms. So I'll try and do that. So it takes a digital signal and processes it and tries to adapt a speed. And so what Zedakis did was he took basically a speed gun and reinitiated it to be able to track things that are much faster than typical speeds. So you could track the speed of a bullet with this or faster. So a lot of the traditional radar guns that are out in the field are limited to hundreds of miles an hour, whereas these have access to thousands. And so you charge the unit.
Thousands. It does look like kind of a radar gun, huh?
It does, and it is a modified radar gun. I don't want to undersimplify or oversimplify, but that is basically what we're looking at here.
Is there a trigger that turns it on?
Correct. Yep, right here in the front. And they can be handheld, excuse me, or these can be mounted. And you can operate them with a remote unit. And so we typically put these up on tripods and mount them so that the signals are crossing. And the reason that we're doing that is one gun is trying to track speed while the other gun is actually connected to a computer and it is relaying location. So it basically is revealing a location in the sky and the speed it's going all at the same time. And all it would have to do is pass in front of this unit. So you can actually cover quite a bit of sky. So that's the basics. And to be honest with you, it's the sort of thing that I have heard works and I have never used in the field successfully. And I say that because I haven't had the opportunity to have something trackable in front of me when I had these up and running. So it does come with a tuning fork.
Okay. Let me ask you, what happens if you shoot you get the tri-field meter out and that's on? Does it pick that, the tri-field meter pick that up? Have you tried that yet? A million things.
I haven't tried that. No, but definitely these are the things that you would do out in the field. You'd turn things on and off and see if you're affecting your other tech. The tuning fork is there to basically fine-tune these devices to make sure that they're operating at the proper frequency and that you're able to actually refine that, making sure they haven't been tweaked, and they will give you the correct reading on those waves. So again, it's just a simple tap. Can you hear that?
Yep.
Yeah. So that is what you use to calibrate the unit when you're out in the field. Again, never been tested successfully. I've heard from the person that I got this from that they had massive success with it. They were able to reveal some objects, and they literally say that it will reveal objects if operated correctly. And I guess theoretically that does make sense. I'm highly skeptical. You know, if somebody just gives me a briefcase mysteriously in the night, I don't assume that the tech is going to operate the way they describe or, you know, give me the results that I'm promised. I am aware of other people that are doing similar things with speed guns. My only warning would be that the typical radar gun that, the police use and things like that will operate in the hundreds. And literally you need to gut this unit and have it negotiate in the thousands. Okay. And so these are two different styles. And you can kind of see some of the controls there.
Okay, cool. What
And
distances do they need to be placed apart? Is Eric pointing to that?
That's a great question. Like 200 yards is great as long as they have clear.
Okay, so that's like
so you've got a mile range.
Yeah,
a really good signal. Yeah.
Okay,
so I mean, you figure cops are perched around a corner. These guns distribute the signal widely as they go, and it gets weaker, obviously, the further away it is from the unit. But typically, these are used for objects that are moving. So you've got a nice wide range. And they've been refined to operate in a way that can be connected directly to a computer through the cabling through the back. And
so what happens when you get something? Like, sorry to interrupt, but I was just wondering how they.
Yeah. So I haven't yet had the opportunity to see anything over a couple hundred miles an hour. You know, if we have trained it on airplanes, things like that.
Yeah.
Those are all, you know, relatively easy to track and get a speed on. We haven't had anything extremely fast in the sky to actually demo this with our team or myself. So I'm still waiting for a result that shows me something like that. Theoretically, if there's something moving at high speed within a mile of us, we would be able to track it and get a speed on it, and it would help my cameras hone in on it also.
Okay. Now, if you point one of them, does anything happen? What happens when you shoot, say, one of them or two of them at an aircraft?
They'll give me two different readings. So one will give me basically information on direction. Like it'll show on my screen how it's moving as a blip across an angle like that. So you have a perspective that looks like this,
Okay.
and it'll show you a little blip basically within there. The second gun would show you how fast, and it's dedicated to speed.
Got it.
So one is dedicated to location tracking and the other's dedicated to speed. It's really vague. Nothing is going to give you anything too hard.
So one gives you a speed. Let's track back. One of them gives you the speed. The other one gives you some type of small radar type screen. Does that all just collect on a computer screen then? So you see like a screen and a speed on some kind of custom heads-up display?
It does, but it looks almost like a fish tracker, if that makes any sense. You know how it's very low grade?
Yeah.
And so it's not really giving me anything more than like a northeast, southwest.
But speed is important. You know,
and so that is huge. That's the second unit. Yeah.
Wow. And they didn't ask anything in return for this? Like,
well, so great question. They would love my results, right?
Oh, okay.
If I'm able to demonstrate this and show it and videotape it with my team in operation, then they are excited for my results. And so, you know, at this point, I've had them about a year. I've yielded nothing in the 2 times I've taken them out. One time I realized that I hadn't charged one of them. And so they are a little tricky to charge. But I think that's simply because they've been taken apart and put back together. And so some of it, there are literally screws on this I had to tighten. And so, you know, I think it's been heavily used, to be completely honest with you. And it was definitely it was
they
definitely
gave it
an
to
in
you,
use.
so. Good.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I would do, if I had that stuff, and God knows I don't need any more equipment, was I'd take that out with one of our guys here and go out and track planes and because I imagine one of them turns on the screen, but then you need to have that other one out there. You could calibrate it too by using tracking aircraft flying over, taking off or going, and then seeing them on flight radar. You can get the speed on flight radar. So at least you would get that.
Be able to confirm. Yeah. And so far, that's the kind of thing we've been able to do. It's relatively accurate, but I've yet to see anything over traditional airspeeds for planes. But that will be fun. You know, it's the sort of thing they have designed it to really go anywhere. I can just show you guys again. You know, it's relatively easy to take on a plane or take anywhere you want. The second unit just fits into the roof of it.
The Tedesco brothers have something like that too. I seen they have their own hand speed radar gun, and I was thinking, well, shit, man, you got to have a close encounter or something. For my understanding of theirs is the orb has to be somewhat close to you, where I'm using high high range optics to see these things way the hell up there. And I'm thinking, I
Yeah.
don't foresee a speed gun because I got screwed up cataract fixed eyes. But there's other people that might do work with, like Chris Donald or somebody else. Just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean it's not practical for someone else. A couple of questions. Would it get planes cruising at altitudes? I don't know. That's a good one. Eric has that. You haven't really tested it yet, so you can't give a solid answer. But do you know the minimum and maximum altitude detections? Like,
I've got a mile range.
A mile?
When I got this, they said that, the best detection is within a mile.
So about 5,000 feet.
Yeah, and that's, terrestrial mile. I don't know what an air mile would be, but yeah, they're traditionally used by cops, right?
Yeah, and they can't accurately, and they get you, when they see you going on the other side of the road. I got caught by auto radar, but I mean, there's a mile, there's a New York mile, and there's a country effing mile.
That's right.
Okay.
And weather definitely plays into it. Yeah.
Did it have any owner's manual or PDF thing? Did it have anything saying what not to do? Because I know with the police, you don't point these things at your nuts, because a whole bunch of cops have gotten testicle cancer because of these type of guns and the emissions and stuff. So with a lot of technology, especially one that doesn't come with a manual with a lawyer's warning, this thing, don't do this, don't do that. What do you think on that? Have you looked any of that up?
No, but I can tell you that's a very real question with very specific answers. You don't aim this at yourself. You only aim them away. Even vehicles, that's about it. Like, you don't want to just aim this at animals. You're not trying to do any damage to people. Yes, it's a strong radar, and what he has done is released it. He's unleashed even more radar for this. So it's about as full power as you can get. I have to use supplemental batteries with this. So, I can charge the handles up, but the handles have a really light battery, lithium battery in there. And so those die quickly. So I don't even really use the handles. I have these mounted, and then I have outside power sources that I've adapted for it. So I can actually link it to live power with an Edison plug.
Okay. Software wise, how does that work? Did they just like write their own software and give you an executable file, or how do you get to see? I mean, I imagine it's USB or something you connect to a computer or something, but how do you see that in the computer? How did the software end work, the back end?
And I do have the computer that they gave me with it. I should have grabbed it. It's right up here. It's just a little Raspberry Pi looking thing, a very small laptop.
Got it.
Pretty hokey. But it's for on the fly, low resolution, give you an idea for direction. But again, it looks like a fish finder, viewfinder with a little blip across the screen, give you an idea that there's something within its range. And that's about all you get visually. All of the information comes up on the side with directional information. That's the interesting stuff. The little blip on the screen is, kind of irrelevant. And if it was going to be a UFO, it would probably move so quickly within that little field that, you wouldn't find it very informative. But it's a very low resolution piece of software. And it just is, it seems like it was used to integrate somehow with these guns. There may have been a purpose, and it may have been written back in the 80s or 90s, when these things were initially conceived.
Well, the Tedesco brothers have a reason why they went ahead and made. I mean, they got the same type of sickness we do. Like, you can't get enough gear. You're addicted to Amazon packages coming in. And then, oh, cool, you get that dopamine hit. I have new gear. And after I release this stuff, I'll have better footage. And then
Yep.
it trips into tricord meters and this and that. But this was given to you, so it's not like you I've done stupid shit on eBay, like, oh yeah, let's get this, and then it's like, I bought what? So I bought a lot of dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Anything else that you need to include here that with your tour of that, of what practically, for practical reasons, what would this be used for? Let's say I fly up there. It's a two-man operation, correct? What would happen then with Skywatch?
Well, you'd have those set up, and then you just be kind of monitoring the units nearby, because the computers have to be right near them and the battery packs. So it's kind of a process. And so each one is going to be independent, right? And so the idea is if something is happening, you're on walkie and you can communicate to the other person on the other device, like, hey, I'm getting something. Are you? But the idea is that they cross somewhere and that they're kind of reading the whole sky, if you will. And so, yes, that setup was important. But at this point, I don't have any like readable data that's interesting, and I can't prove that this works. Unfortunately, it's still very much a mysterious device to me. And I understand the Tedesco brothers are using this. My understanding is it may not have the range, but still the concept of using a speed gun, with a mile or quarter mile range even, would be highly useful. And if you have 3 zeros, right? That is traditionally what you have on these guns. And if you're able to take that data panel out and replace it with one that can go into much higher speeds, and then also do a few other things that Zedeckis did that I don't personally understand, where he was able to unlock things. And all I know is it drains the power from those handles within minutes. So it draws a lot more power than it did before he worked with it. You're looking at being able to maybe read some real speeds. And really, that's the information that these are going to give you, is the speed of these things. We don't care about necessarily where they're going, because it might give me a hint on how to track it with my camera. But really, these devices are set up to give us something on speed, to figure out the real speed of these things. So I think it's a great device. It covers, a quarter of the sky in front of you at the time. And I think it's an interesting tool if it proves to work.
Well, it's interesting if it, you don't have to have it too pointed at, you just point it in the general direction and it flies by. So you're not exactly, like tracking it, like, with a laser. So there's a range of that. And you said there were Raspberry Pi little mini computers attached to each one. Next question is, how does like one of them 200 yards away communicate with the other one to the computer? Do they do it live? Yeah. Is there a link? How does that work?
They're completely independent. And so one is dedicated to tracking and the other is dedicated to speed. They don't communicate. I just have two data points from these devices. They can be used independently, but the idea is to cover the sky. So when one thing happens, both devices cover that event at the same time.
Where this would be best used is in an active hotspot. I'm thinking like Sedona, stuff on the ground. Like, what if you had that out? And I mean, we don't know if it works yet, right? But what if it detects something moving at, high speeds? It could be a possible tripwire. It looks like a piece of additional gear that if you were to go to a Skywatch, first you bring out your UFO detector, which is going to be a psionics at night, or, like some camera with night shot on in the daytime, using your IR detectors, or Chris or any psionic assets, people who are lucky that can find them. And then this would be an additional piece of gear on top of all the other things. So I would, in my mind, looking at how that would be practical and useful is, after you testing whatnot, is just another layer on top of a lot of other gear with other radar and other Skywatchers at different locations for triangulation. It's a very interesting piece of equipment to add into the collective to see, does this work? Does it have worth? Does it, collect anything? Like Gary Nolan was saying, you do a Skywatch, do a whole bunch of repeat ones, and then introduce other elements into the Skywatch to see, first you get a baseline. Here's general Skywatch from people. And then does psionics help or not? Do things like this help or not? Does the hit rate go up or not? And you don't know until you just do a lot of repetition with Skywatching.
Yep. It's a lot of trial and error. Even with these devices, I have yet to have a situation where they're functional, right? And I am also not locked down going to be the perfect situation. This was just the instructions I was given verbally.
Okay.
So, a lot of it will be trial and error with these, the same way, that might conflict directly with my RF radar, right? If I run the Kraken at the same time as this, it'll probably be a problem. So I would need to, have an occurrence where I can run more than one piece of gear on it at the same time and see which one tracks the best, which one gives me the best tripwire effect. And I like that you said that, because really that is the sweet cookie that we're looking for. A tripwire that would initiate recording, tell our cameras where to look. The UFO DAP is great because it just captures everything and sorts it out later. But another element would be great to be like, hey, this is interesting. And in real time, AI says, let's get other cameras on it, to look into other spectrums or whatever. Now, I know you have atomic watches going, and those clocks are reading almost all the time, if my understanding is correct. And it's those fluctuations that also help us to kind of have a tripwire. We don't know if MUFONs are part of the UAP, UFO world, but any fluctuation in that field is interesting. So we're looking for that tripwire to give us an alert, to let us know something's going on in the skies above us, or, take this out in the ocean. It might be below us.
Absolutely. One thing that kind of crossed my mind recently, on a whole different subject for tripwire, is I was just thinking, in the Nimitz case in 2004, how do we know that they weren't where they were doing their workups? Maybe we have enough aircraft carriers now, according to Eric Burleson, there's 5 or 6 underwater UFO bases. I'm wondering if we're doing our workups directly on top of them on purpose. They're directed there by the intelligence community to go over there, bring you nuclear-powered subs, your aircraft carriers, support destroyers, and everything else, and just hang out, do your stuff. But they inadvertently might not know that they were put on top of a UFO hotspot over one in water to provoke them. And we were talking earlier about, UFO crashes might be because UFOs are shooting each other down. It's alien on alien warfare, where the Roswell crash, we hear this all the time. It's a good argument. How would somebody from another dimension or another planet get here and then screw up and crash? They couldn't, drive around stuff. And it could be as simple as somebody else shot them down. That woodcut from 1561, where they show the orbs at war with the crosses and the cylinders and the big long dart-looking thing. These things, we might be owned by some other non-human intelligence that claims ownership of us, and then some other life form from another planet goes, hey, look at that blue marble, let's head there. They get here and they find out you can't just do what you want to do here. There's rules here. This planet's under some type of quarantine. But it's a little off target. But I don't know, just thinking about something like this might be more useful, like you said, with sonar versions or around the sea or something. But it's interesting that to see that, Tim.
Yeah. And, you bring up an interesting point. It does feel sometimes, if you're to interpret things in its literal sense, it feels a little bit like a siege, doesn't it? It's a little overwhelming to think that there's so many sightings and then our military covers that up. That's very frustrating. And so we are wading in a sea of just cover up. And it's literally up to the independent to go out and seek this stuff for themselves if you're looking for the truth. And it's tricky, there's so much in the skies that they, are aware of. It's hard to think that they don't know exactly what's going on. And I definitely, I could see alien on alien going on here, fighting over the big blue marble. Why not?
I think this planet is worth. I'd want it. I mean, I'd want this planet. I don't know about all the people on it, but I'd want it for myself. If I mean, because we're finding out through our own tech, there's just ain't a lot of Earths out there. There's a lot of Venuses and a lot of Mars. Tim, anything you want to close on before we move on to some videos?
No, I'm actually excited for the videos. Let's move right on into it.
Well, you got it. All right. So we're going to move on from the Phoenix, or we're going to move on from Secret Skywatcher tech, which looks like handmade custom radar detectors and whatnot that Tim got in a briefcase. He didn't buy them. It was given to him. And he was chosen, to have this, which is pretty interesting. Those are tools you just don't see around the UFO campfire very often. We're going to get into some media here. So there was a video that came to my attention. It was, I'm going to look at my notes here. It was shot in Oklahoma. Now, the guy is actually saying this looks like the Phoenix Lights in the video. And it kind of does, even though I saw the 10 o'clock event and filmed it, and I didn't see the earlier one. We'll see. We have Uncle Dave's Kitchen here, David Parker, who's a 830 witness on Phoenix Lights. He can look at this and tell us tell us if it's any type of close match. It is kind of creepy. This was shot in Blackwell, Oklahoma. It's an interesting video. The guy's driving over 100 miles an hour. So, Tim, we're going to get this new one. We're going to get you on camera. So let's roll this. Let's roll this and see how it goes.
What the fuck is that? I hope y'all can see this. It's like right there, too. It's right there. I bet it ain't 500 foot off the ground. What the fuck is that? Nobody else seen this shit? Okay. It's like right there, sitting there, just sitting in the sky, not making a sound, just hovering. Is what's the Phoenix Lights or something? Some kind of deal. Oh shit. That's my exit. Oh my god, bro. The Project Bluebeam, I mean they're out every night. Something different, different town, different lights, different bullshit. If it ain't Project Bluebeam, then we're being invaded. Slowly but surely. The 3RL had something to do with it. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Pardon my French. Boy. Ain't nobody else seeing this shit? Nobody else is looking? Okay, whatever. I'm seeing it. I'll be looking. Always be looking in the sky. Oh, man. Why ain't nobody's even looked up, I guarantee it. Nobody's even fucking looked up. You're looking up when the shit hits the fan. It's about to. It ain't a damn drone either. There's a drone. Drone my ass. Where'd it go? Where did it go? And just like that, it's gone. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. There it is. That's a big ass ship. Oh my god, it's a big ship. That's a huge ship. Let me get out of this light. It's just sitting there. There it is. My heart's racing. Let me check flight radar 24. I know it ain't gonna show up, cause it ain't.
Interesting video. He got out of his car to film that. And man, the guy drove 100 miles an hour. Good job for the filmer. He filmed it for 4 minutes. The blinking lights part at the end, when I saw that, I went, damn, that is a dead ringer. That I just did a show on boomerangs a couple of weeks ago. But that is maybe not it, but it could be related because we don't know. There's enough kind of like lights blinking that they could form the boomerang. Now, this is a 2025 video. We do have a match from 2020, but Tim, what did you think of that? Have you seen that? That was a new video, just hit the internet.
Yeah, no, that looked good. I find, it frustrating because I want to be able to explain it, the same way with my own sighting or any piece of evidence. I'm like, there's gotta be something I'm missing. Each piece is a case, if you will, and there's evidence. And this is a head scratcher. I love it. Each light independently, if you look at it, kind of seems to have a pattern. They seem to be working together. If you were to list the facts in this video, it doesn't give you anything traditional. And so I think this is a great piece. Anytime I see something on this scale, I liken it, of course, to the Phoenix Lights, as we have for this show. And you being present for the Phoenix Lights gives you that edge on sightings like this that are so huge and really hard to scale and kind of hard to put into perspective, with only a piece of video, perhaps, as our evidence. But you, being someone that stood on the ground and filmed something real that had large scale, that looked similar, can kind of have an edge and insight. Now, Tom, of course, my questions are the usual ones. Do you think that lights performing independently yet together, but there seems to be a pattern in the flashing, doesn't seem to be a traditional, but it doesn't seem to be a traditional airplane kind of flashing. It's a different pattern, and each one has a different pattern in its flash. So I find that very confusing. What does this make you think when you see this?
We can't rule out man-made with something like this because there's just not enough information. With this particular video, just from looking from the video, it appears that this guy tried to go after it, and he was going over 100 miles an hour and still couldn't catch up to it. Now, we hear this all the time. Why don't you get in your car and chase it and whatnot? And this guy actually did. So, damn. So, I mean, I'm kind of just chewing on that. Now, I've watched this about 3-4 times. And those lights that are blinking, that's in some type of sequence. You're right. There's no anti-collision lights on these. What they are is they're either an on or they're an off, and it's all black. There's no strobe in between. There's no red and no green and no white, which should be mandatory for anything flying over the United States. Pretty much a world. Now, to help fill in the piece of this puzzle, we have Charlene C's video. Now, I got that queued up, and I played it here before, but when people see this one, they're going to, okay, it's the same type of thing 5 years later. And both these were recorded in the South. Be interesting to now look at it. Go to National UFO Reporting Center, and look up Oklahoma for that month. See, did anybody else report this? There could be possible multi-camera things. So the people watching, you can go check. See, does Oklahoma have anything like this from that area at all? Hell, all you got to do is look at Oklahoma and look for something like this. Now, the lights that are blinking. Now, this is, unlike Mick West, I admit what I'm not good at. He just fucking knows everything, But what I would do if I was in the intelligence community is I would take lights like this and I'd put them in a computer system that looked at the flashing patterns of signal intelligence. Is this Morse code that they're flashing out? Are these communicating with each other? These things are giving us tests. That's why I've said about videos a lot of time. They're like puzzles. They're almost like logical tests. And they want to see who down here can figure this out. The 8 billion of these people, good portion of you don't like each other and destroy each other over these coins. And we'll see which people have risen above that can see us, first of all, record us, and then study and analyze this. And maybe they end up abducting you. That's what I'd do if I were these things.
Yeah, I mean, my hat's off to the cameraman in this case, because anyone that chases down a potential massive UFO, that takes courage. And we know traditionally what, the potential is, like abduction. You mentioned that word. That is a scary word. And to some people that have had that experience, I don't think that they would track down and want to have another experience with something large like that in the sky, potentially. But I can tell you, I have heard some stories that are quite convincing that the abduction theory is not just a theory, but a real thing. So I'm open to anything, but I wouldn't personally want that experience. But again, I tip my hat to that videographer going over 100 miles an hour to get this footage and to potentially get closer to this massive UFO in the sky he's attempting to film.
Yeah, I mean, during the Phoenix Lights, if we had a filmer that was able to go 100 miles an hour, put their name on it, put it out, and then hope that LEO doesn't come after you. You say, give us $400, $100 will confiscate your car, whatever. But little known fact, there used to be these things. They're probably still here. They're called stringers. And they're people who drive around in their cars in big cities. They made a movie like this. It was called Night Something with Jake Gyllenhaal, right? And he played a guy in LA whose job was to drive around and film, car accidents and the aftermath of car accidents and just newsworthy stuff, and then sell it to the local news for $100. So
great
laying
movie.
that out. Yeah, I love that movie. I wish there was a sequel. So we had that in place in Phoenix. There were 6 stringers driving around town. We have 3, 5, 10, 12, and 15 as our local news channels. And these people work independently. They were driving around March 13th. Apparently, they didn't film jack, right? So even stringers didn't get nothing that night. And other nights when this thing is flown over major cities. So people saying, yeah, if we just had a camera ready, hell, these people have them in their cars. They're driving around. Boomerang flies over town. 2 mile long triangle flies after it. Then another boomerang flies over Scottsdale, and still nothing. So I don't know what the hell it takes to collect good evidence on this. But let's take a look at Louisiana. This one, I love this video. This video made me rethink that maybe I didn't film flares on March 13th, because it looks just like my video, but these aren't flares.
That look like a whole fleet, and they flying real slow this way. If I got this many UFOs on video, I'm sending this to Mr. MV333. Sure am. They coming this way real slow. And then, you know, if they were airplanes, they would have been here.
One thing to keep in mind is none of these lights right now are flashing. They're all on solid. So there is no anti-collision left and right lights. They could be incoming aircraft lights. I mean, we have aircraft lined up to come in for a landing. So I'm thinking, could they be that? Well, keep watching.
And they look to be turning different colors. There's 7 of them. It looked like it was more than that at first. And now it's 6. One disappeared. No. Oh, one did disappear.
That is the same look. I've covered this before, of 4 objects in a line and one off to the side. It's like kind of like the boomerangs, where they have one trailing light.
You know, airplanes don't fly that close together. Maybe helicopters, but I don't think so. Oh my goodness, him and his motorcycle. Turn it off already.
Look, it's more now.
No, at first there was 7, now it's only 6.
Okay,
I'm going to skip forward just a bit. At this point, the objects start blinking.
Yeah, see, they're going towards the right now. But it's still coming this way.
And what was this shot with?
Looks like a phone, I think.
And then look, if you see where like the stars are, you can tell the stars are stars because they're not moving and they're way up higher.
Now, this resembles the other video from Oklahoma at this point. And they're spaced out pretty far. I mean, that's like a quarter mile to maybe a half a mile wide. That's what it looks like when you see something really large, a big UFO type of event with a lot of objects in the sky.
I feel like we can rule out Starlink just because it's not moving fast enough.
Well, the video's
flares,
11 minutes.
We can rule out, we can rule out flares because obviously they wouldn't stay like that in the sky. We can rule out traditional satellite because, again, that would move. You know, the only thing that it could be is that this camera is picking up stars, right? And stars twinkling. But we would see other stars. So I feel like we have to rule out that we're looking at stars. And if right now they're flashing on and off, you know, whereas they weren't before, could
Now
we
they're
be
almost in a
looking at
straight
drones?
line.
Because drones traditionally, you know, can be turned on and off. That would be my last resort on this is, you know, these could potentially be drones. But again, only because I have no concept of perspective, whether this is out in space or if it's something
I was hoping
down
they
in
came
our
this way
atmosphere.
so I can get a
It looks great.
closer shot.
I mean, if we're
Turn to
ruling
the
that
left
out,
and
this is a really
go
interesting
looking.
piece of footage.
From watching this, my perspective is this looks like these objects are flying towards the camera person, who's doing
Well,
a
see,
pretty
it
good
come look,
job
you can
keeping
really
it
see the
stable.
colors now, like the green, pink, and purples and yellows.
I like that he zooms in and out, giving
It's
us
like
some
every time he flashes,
perspective
turn a different color.
and, you know, showing us that these objects actually aren't really moving.
Okay, yeah.
You know, that's very helpful. But again, I feel that
Man, it's the alien caravan.
with
That's
any
what
of
it
these
is.
sightings, they're so large scale like this that are lights in the sky syncing up. If I'm ruling out drones, it's a big question mark. I don't know now. Maybe up in the right there, we just got another light. Now, is that a star? What are we looking at? Is that associated with it? Do you see what I'm looking at there up in the upper left?
Yeah, I think
There's
that's a
another
star
kind
they're
of-
going by.
Okay.
It looks like it's
They're
going
going by.
over this
Huh.
town, and there is
Yeah.
a military
I wonder if
base
they're gonna loop
nearby.
back around and come this way.
Interesting. So
No
yeah,
sounds. And at this point, they start the phase blinking. This is the point where I was saying if I was doing signal intelligence, I would time each light when they turn on, when they turn off, and see. Because let's say if they're FAA, it's going to be a regular pulse over and over and over in a sync. But if those lights are not FAA, now you can see the strobing or the weird thing. That is creepy as hell.
that is creepy. Now, my question to you is, can we rule out that this is an object with lights on it?
No, we can never really rule out these aren't helicopters because, you know, they could be, but there's no Doppler effect. I mean, just think about it. 6 helicopters in formation,
know,
and
I'm
when
not
they're
the only
military,
person
they are
seeing
so
this.
loud you can hear them 3 minutes before they fly towards you. News helicopters
Agreed.
and police helicopters, you typically hear as they're flying over, and the Doppler effect kicks in. But the Doppler effect precedes most Hueys and large Apache type helicopters. They manufacture
Right there, I
Apaches
just saw
about
the
12
last
miles from here,
UFO.
so I'm familiar with that sound.
So, what about my question really is, do we think that this is potentially a object with lights on it? Like a singular large Phoenix light style triangle?
Maybe. I mean, they were a little crooked, out of position, but you see these lights didn't drop. These are flying by themselves. At least 6 different objects about a mile apart. And she just films them until they leave. I love this filmer. This is how you do it.
Okay. And also, we're getting a perspective. They weren't on the ground necessarily. It looks like they were up maybe a floor shooting out a window from a building.
Yeah, like second story.
What do you
think?
Okay. Potentially.
Wow.
I mean, I do believe that there are satellites out there that do have signal beacons on them, potentially. but I've never seen them flying in unison. Usually I'll see one. It is curious. The pattern of flashing is curious. It leads to me, more questions than answers, to be quite honest. That's a great piece of footage. She filmed to the very end. I'm curious.
It made me rethink my March 13th footage because I'm like, I got flares. That was my position going from like end of 99 up towards 2000 when I saw this video. And then I was like, what if it was this that we just saw? And that happened at 10. But apparently there's a lot of people that saw smoke. And sometimes you just got to let things go and not piggyback your sighting on another person's sighting.
Right.
And we've been on for an hour. Got some more videos left. If you guys like this stuff, you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button, get notifications. We will have Tim back on here. Tim has fiber, man. He's got a better internet connection than me. So I'll get whatever the hell this streaming option is figured out as time goes on. Subscribe, like, and check out Dan's channel. And before we move on to the next piece, let's see what questions we got from our loyal viewers. I think that was Psionics would have did a hell of a job. Tim, what do you think Psionics would have? What kind of world would we live in if Sean LC used the Psionics on either the Louisiana capture or that other gentleman got one on the Oklahoma capture?
I'm a fan. I'm an absolute fan. I've been using it for 5 years. I've had every iteration. And I'm literally putting on my Psionics hat to say it. I'm not paid by them, but I do share my data with them. And they're really helpful. And this isn't a selling point, but I'll be quite transparent with you. If I have a questionable piece of Psionics footage, I send it to them first. They do the math on it, and they're like, we can rule out that it's not this, this, and this. And then I can have fun with it. So ask specific questions about your footage, and they will give you specific answers very quickly, and they're an email away. So that's a wonderful thing, to have the makers of your camera clear your footage as being either something interesting or not.
Okay, so I took off Wednesday. I can backtrack just a second. I took off last Wednesday, went up to Chris's house and did a Skywatch. Was up there about 4.5 hours. Unfortunately, we didn't run into anything. We didn't run into anything on that particular one, but we did shoot. Clive was there. The whole group was there. We did shoot a bunch of stuff that'll end up into another documentary of what's coming up. This is the first time that the group went to Chris's house without actually seeing something. Every time we go there, we have a sighting, which led me to buy these glasses. So I will be rolling these glasses as soon as I jump out of my van. And that's what happened the other time I was at his house. There was a hockey puck up there when I got out. And I'm like, I'll get you. I got 3 tripods to bring in, a P1000, a P900, and a bunch of other cameras. You wait a minute. By the time I hooked all those cameras up, the thing split. So they're tricky. So that's why I bought this. So let's just take a quick look, a quick little adventure over at Chris's house last Wednesday. So yeah, sometimes if you got extra time off, take them off, do Skywatch.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing damn good, man.
You're looking good, Tom, you sexy motherfucker. I got the competition.
Yeah, I go up and down 40 pounds a month. Like a fucking hot air balloon. Do I go up? And then I go down. Good to see you, man.
I want to show you guys the one I got this morning on the big tree real quick. It was really pretty cool because I came out here.
Yo.
How you doing? Good to see you.
And that's some of our team you see on here all the time. Sunday night, I am going out to the Superstition Mountains to do solo Skywatch. So I'll be out there Skywatching with gear. This one, I plan on doing a light. I'm not going to bring a lot of equipment. I think just the binoculars, the PVS-7, and maybe that's it, because I think bringing too much gear actually spooks some of these things. If you bring a little bit of like one camera with a battery 3/4 charged, you're probably going to get something. But if you bring like 15 cameras like you're setting up for a Netflix film, there's a good chance you're going to leave empty-handed. Tim, do you want to roll that, before we move on to the next one, you want to roll that Moon Lake video you sent in? I'm going to take that for a yes. And here's a little bit more from last week on Moon Lake.
All right, can you do me a favor, Tom, and scope that right above those? There's 3 mountains.
Okay. I'm trying to get even on this.
There's like a flashing, pulsing light.
Yep, right over at the top.
Yeah, what's going on?
How did I zero that in so quick?
You knew what I was thinking. Oh, shooting star, brother! What was that? Oh my God! Well, fuck, dude. Wait, I'm seeing things. The whole horizon just flashed as I saw a UFO fucking fly across, dude. Somebody get out their flight radar right now.
There's something flashing on that mountain.
What the frig was that? Wow.
Wow, dude, there's something coming in right over the top of it right now.
Dude, I saw.
Flying in.
What? Okay, where are you?
Flying in. Right
Oh,
over
I
the
see
top
you.
of the mountain drip.
Yes.
There's something.
I'm there.
flying above.
I'm there. It disappeared.
Streak up in the sky, like a white streak going up and down, right here. Like, all right, now, right, I'm focused on it right now. You'll see the cloud. There's literally a white streak on that cloud.
Oh, whoa.
Like, I don't know what.
Okay, that's odd. You can't see it with your naked
No,
eye.
you cannot. And it's going up between the clouds. It looks like it's that light.
It does.
I bet you.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a powerful light.
Yeah, I've never seen anything quite like that.
But you can't see it with your eyes.
No. Oh, dude, that light is back.
Is it?
Oh, it's beautiful. Wait. Go ahead and just look.
What the fuck is that? What? Hey, you've got to see this. You got to see this.
You go get one of the other.
You have got to see this. It's coming down. It's shining down. Dude, it's shining down.
It's right there. It's right there.
Right there. In the cloud.
Right there.
Oh, I see what you're talking about now.
What do you have down?
That is.
Oh, sweet. I don't know what that is, man. Looking off the clouds.
Yeah, and it could be something like that.
Yeah,
So bright up top, it looks like it's going to be the sky.
that is.
And you can't see it with your naked eye.
And there's something else up there too.
You see?
Yeah, and there's something else up there too. So that makes me think it is a reflection. Because whenever there's something in the back, it's bouncing.
I've just zoomed in, and it is looking odd, but it looks like 2 separate balls of light that are flicking at the same time. Maybe.
Interesting video, Timson. I apologize for this damn lag. They did install fiber in my neighborhood, but they haven't given me the ability to turn it on, so I got to wait for that. So that is coming. I'm going to get that corrected. Usually we don't have these issues, but let's keep moving forward here. There's a new Sphere video that just came out, so hopefully you didn't get triggered by that. A lot of people have made up their minds with the tridactyls and the Bugosphere stuff. There's a lot of stuff that seems to come out of Colombia, so maybe it's just jealousy or something like that. But this video is weird. So far, I haven't heard the debunkers attacking on this. Figure this out. So, Tim, what's I don't know if you've seen this yet. This is a new video of the Sphere that came out. I don't know too much about it, but let's get this. Get this queued up here.
Your audience is saying it's super laggy. Just a heads up.
Yeah, I know.
I
know. It's fucked up.
Not sure if they're able to view it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad actually. Let's see if this works at all.
...28 de agosto de 2025... Tuluá, Valle del Cauca, Colombia. Un grupo de amigos parapentistas se preparaba para volar. Alrededor de las 11 de la mañana aprovecharon las corrientes térmicas para despegar desde una zona alta cercana al Cerro del Picacho. Durante el vuelo fueron seguidos por una esfera de apariencia metálica similar a las avistadas anteriormente en Buga y Jumbo. Es exactamente la misma. Henry Mauricio Merchan Rico y Rodrigo Ayala, apodado Metanol, experimentaron un acercamiento muy cercano con la esfera. Mientras volaban, trataban de mantenerse atentos a la presencia del objeto que los seguía. En tierra, un miembro del grupo, quien se quedó vigilando el vehículo, también notó que la esfera los acompañaba. Fue él quien logró grabar la evidencia.
Esta imagen fue tomada exactamente en el lugar donde ellos despegan, en la cruz. Exactamente en la cruz. O sea, el mismo lugar. Este video es en el Picacho, la cruz del Picacho. Exactamente el señor el que los transporta y él se percató que algo los perseguía. Y él empezó a grabar con su celular de alta gama, por eso se ve tan nítido. Y esta esfera se vino hacia él y él se asustó mucho también. Ahí donde está diciendo él cosas que no quiere que salgan.
Oye, ¿este señor iba con los parapentistas?
Sí, señor, andaba con él, es el que los transporta a ellos, a Roldanillo y a Tuluá. Él es amante del parapentismo también.
Y entonces él vio la esfera y la empezó a grabar, como lo hizo William con una cámara 4K, ¿verdad?
Sí, señor, en 4K, y esta esfera se viene a él, mire, se viene a él y él se preocupa mucho, mas sin embargo no deja de grabar.
Extraordinarias imágenes.
Podemos ver cómo estaba siguiendo a los que volaban en el parapente, pero en un momento al parecer se dirigió directamente hacia la zona de la cruz en el Cerro del Picacho. En un momento, la esfera se acercó lentamente girando sobre sí misma y se dirigió claramente hacia la persona que estaba grabando. Como consecuencia de este acercamiento, y posiblemente debido al campo magnético que la esfera generaba, el teléfono celular se apagó repentinamente, interrumpiendo la grabación. El análisis de las imágenes permitió apreciar con mayor detalle las características de la esfera. Aplicando un alto contraste a las imágenes, podemos apreciar con toda claridad. Es evidente que se trata del mismo objeto avistado en Buga y Jumbo. Presenta las mismas marcas dobles en su ecuador y puntos oscuros en su parte central. Observe con atención en las comparaciones. Se trata del mismo tipo de esfera. No cabe duda alguna. Este avistamiento en Tuluá, así como la forma en que el objeto se acercó de manera potencialmente peligrosa a los parapentistas, refuerza la idea de que estas esferas están manifestándose abiertamente a plena luz del día. Se trata de una clara demostración, la cual se registró en esta zona denominada como Tuluá, Valle del Cauca, Colombia, la cual se encuentra a 25 kilómetros de Buga, el área en donde se registró el primer encuentro y descenso de este tipo de esferas. Continuando con los eventos extraordinarios reportados la mañana del jueves 28 de agosto del 2025, ahora observaremos los videos que fueron obtenidos directamente desde el aire por el joven Mauricio Merchan Rico, quien era acompañado por Rodrigo Ayala, quienes durante su práctica tuvieron la oportunidad de observar a la enigmática esfera que se desplazaba muy cerca de donde realizan su vuelo en parapente. En el primer momento, que es muy breve, observaremos que la esfera se mueve apenas unos metros por arriba del parapente. Ahora observaremos en cámara lenta y con acercamiento. Es claro que se trata del mismo tipo de objeto esférico que se ha reportado con gran frecuencia en la zona del Valle del Cauca. De acuerdo a la información proporcionada por los testigos y comentada por el grupo de investigación Cazadores de OVNIs Latinoamérica, encabezado por David Vélez y William Zúñiga, en el momento más próximo del parapente con la esfera, el teléfono móvil dejó de funcionar por un momento, lo que explicaría el breve corte que se observa en la cámara lenta. Nuevamente observaremos esta breve secuencia captada por el nervioso parapentista. Después de unos segundos, la misteriosa esfera es nuevamente videograbada, pero ahora sobrevolando por debajo del parapente y desplazándose muy cerca del punto donde se localiza la Cruz de Picacho, un referente histórico y cultural de la ciudad de Tuluá. Nuevamente observaremos esta breve secuencia captada por un nervioso parapentista. Nos queda claro que esta esfera en distintos momentos siguió y realizó múltiples alrededor de los parapentes. Minutos después, Mauricio Merchan registró cómo la esfera se mantenía por debajo de su posición y lo rodea.
Hola, tengo cerquita, qué miedo, marica.
Esta grabación, al igual que las anteriores, es breve, pero en el análisis podemos registrar cómo ésta se movió dando un giro, movimientos inteligentes que generaron en los testigos gran nerviosismo. En el desarrollo del análisis de estas secuencias se logró comprobar cómo incluso la esfera se refleja en el casco del parapentista, lo que le otorga gran credibilidad al evento. Más tarde, así fue como narró para Cazadores de OVNIs Latinoamérica su experiencia.
Yo de pronto veo una cosa que se viene acercando hacia mí. Yo pues no sé la velocidad de pronto cuando...
So it goes into an interview with the people that are parasailing or paramotoring here. Now,
Yeah.
I have a kind of a neutral opinion of the Bugosphere. Let's just wait and see. Let's get this out of Jaime Maussan's hands and whatnot. But sighting like this, I was reading what the opposition says. They got nothing. The regular type of people from Metabunk are saying all those people fake this. The three people, the person filming it in the wide angle, filming the parasailers, and then we saw a video from each one showing their angle of it, looking at it, and they're saying what we're seeing is a drone that's holding a balloon. Okay. Now, let's take a look at this. The video was choppy. I give it that. The stream here sucks for some freaking reason. But in the video, it's all over the internet now. In the beginning of this video, you can see that sphere go up and down, bouncy like this, right? And then it takes off. Now, I did a video, one of the most popular videos I have on here, probably hands down, is There a Sphere Network by Patrick Jackson? Possibly. Because all these sphere videos are either faking it or whatnot. But in that one that goes up and down, we go back in that sphere, Is There a Sphere Network? The very beginning of it is a video shot in Russia where it shows this field and these trees, and one of these spheres is going up and down for about 30 years ago. And then it takes off. It does the same thing. So what do you think, Tim? What do you think of that video? If you've seen much of it, what do you your take?
Yeah, some things are just too good to be true. I definitely believe that it's possible that, spheres exist. I've seen them, filmed them. I don't know what they are, but I don't feel like this is it. Definitely, there's some ways to do this. I know it's been debunked a lot of ways. I don't like the word debunked. I don't like debunking, but it's part of the analysis of things. I hate this video because it's so good, right? I hated it when I first saw it, and I still hate it because it's either the best or the worst thing we've ever seen, right? And so I find it very frustrating. I try not to think too hard on this one because it's simply too good to be true. You know what I mean? And I can't verify anything about it. I don't have the original. There's a lot of things that are easily manipulated, and the people that have done the work did break it down and make it look like it was very possible to potentially put this together yourself. That's all I have to say about it. I find it incredibly frustrating. I love and hate it. That's the truth of it.
Interesting. If it's real and it's not CGI and it was done with the drone, I'm looking through those videos. Where is the drone? It would have to be above them. And these people were, looking around everywhere. They didn't seem to, they'd have to, if there was a drone there, they'd have to either edit out digitally, get rid of it. But the part where it goes up and down, kind of in the beginning of the video, drone, you don't do that with a drone. We all know this, right? So let's say we were to try and replicate this video, and we take up any size drone that, would be required to, move something, a sphere like this. We know that when you get a drone in the sky, I call them a flying tripod that just sits there and they're locked steady. Drones don't go up and down like this, right? Okay, now if they did, and you tried to replicate that going up and down with, some type of ball bearing, if it's a balloon, it's, it's got to go up a little bit and come down. It's got to have some weight and able to go up and down like this with the drone. You could do that with the drone and then take off, but then you're going to have that tandem effect that you cannot get rid of pulling something, and it's going to swing behind you, and when it stops, that thing's going to go like this. So we should be seeing behavior like that. That's kind of when I'm looking at trying to figure out, what are we looking at here? Is this fake?
I mean, I go for the basics. I look at the lighting, right? The lighting is off sometimes on the sphere, and they were very careful to make sure that they got it right, but they got it wrong a couple times. And it looks like there's multiple light sources, and then it screams AI. To be completely honest, this is just regular footage with added AI potentially, right? Now, if you want to scrape all that away and look at this as something real, it's fantastic. But why would an orb operate like this? Supposedly the orb was recovered, right? Didn't the thing come down? Isn't that the end of this thing is when it comes down?
This isn't the Bugosphere video. This is a new one. It was recorded 25 miles away by 3 different people.
Okay.
So this apparently
it's the same. Yeah.
They're trying to link it to it, but that's Columbia again.
And so that screams, not real to me. And I hate that. But hey, I could get new information and it would change my mind. At this point, I feel like this was not something that we should consider real, but enjoy it as art, for right now,
Well, there's no way to know, right? I mean, we didn't go there and got to get a passport, fly down there, investigate this. And is Masan connected to this? I mean, we do know there's a culture in Colombia of them making these big balloons out of garbage bags duct taped together. They light some kind of fire on them and they let them up, and you always see the center if they're balloons with that fire in them. I don't know about this sphere. They've either went to another level of faking. I don't buy it's a drone with it flying around at all. It doesn't behave like that. So I'm with you. If it's fake, it's CGI fake, but then they went and faked them all. But it's getting easier and easier and easier. And we have to be careful with AI that they didn't take the video and then take SOAR 3 or something and say, put this in. You just don't know. But then again, when I film something, and it's probably going to be one camera most of the time, and this gets played, say, in Turkey, and they don't speak English, they haven't been here, they'd go, that goddamn American's faking this, 500th video. So I don't know. But this evidence is piling up with these spheres more and more and more. Eventually, when there's an avalanche of, or just so many videos, then what do we do? Just go, hey, these are a thing?
Yeah. Well, if this was shot the way it looks, there should be B-roll. And the B-roll would have both the operator and the sphere in it. There's no B-roll. This feels like, Anyways, moving on. If you've got more video, I say we roll it. Yeah.
Okay, let's get into Arrow has put out some stuff. They are putting out videos sometimes. They're not putting out the best videos. We talked about this on the last podcast. They put out videos like we're going to see. That some of them you can explain and some of them you can't. But they're not putting out the videos we want to see. We want to see structured craft. We want to see windows. We want to see, the occupants of them. We want to see kind of like somebody built this. We don't want to see us, but they're grooming us. We are being groomed. They're grooming us with the small spheres or whatever, because Sean Kirkpatrick said most of the stuff they see like here. So what we're looking at here is this was labeled a balloon. It was shot in 2020 in Europe. This was released a couple of weeks ago by Arrow. So they're doing what their mandate is getting videos and putting them out. I did hear they wanted to hire Matt Ford from the Good Trouble show, and Matt told him, told him to F off. So what we're seeing, let's just take a look at this now. This might be a flying humanoid shot on white hot by U.S. surveillance collection system. We don't know a lot or much about this because they will not. They're blacking out all the good details, right? So let's just this video starting out. It's heading to, remember, it's heading to the left, and now the object is slowly kind of circling down. They do zoom in after a while. It kind of looks like a flying humanoid or humanoid type of shape. It's that type of shape. It could be a balloon too, but it doesn't fly like a balloon according to what we see in this video. Now, the thing I don't like is they mask all the important details we would need. Like, we don't know if this thing is flying in a straight line and it's circled because the Reaper drone or whatever collection asset is circling the object, so it makes it appear like it's turning. We don't. But if this was a boat full of alleged drugs and they blew up some people, they don't mask all that stuff. So it's kind of disappointing. We need them to unmask some of the stuff. I get they don't want to give away the exact location because this thing is probably still there doing circles, monitoring this country. Okay, so now it's going to the right. It's increased speed. Me and Rhonda took a look at this earlier. This does not look like a regular balloon. What this looks like to me is an object doing racetrack patterns. Most of the time when I film
We'll
like
even
sky debris,
go further to say this looks like a lot of what you film. This
Yeah.
looks like what you film all the time.
this looks like what Gobstopper calls a metapod, which is like a kind of a contraption somebody would get in. So they are doing a bit of a zoom, and you can see it's stick shaped. Kind of like it reminds me of that that duck video that the Arizona Customs and Border Patrol recorded. They recorded another one that looked like a person. It wasn't the duck video; it was another one. It looked like a person going over the ground really fast, and it was big. And you could compare the swirl cactuses. Like, what is this weird thing that's going over the ground really fast? Those videos are odd, and this one kind of fits in that category.
This feels like a laser cat toy, like tracing in the sky. It's insane.
Yeah, there must be hundreds and hundreds of videos like that just, if you put the intelligence assets over a war type zone, these things seem to be interested in that. It goes back to Foo Fighter days. So now the object is going up, and you can clearly see it's looping back. And if it's hard to we can't know, because this could be circling around an object going a straight line. We don't know, but this looks like an object doing racetrack patterns according to the video as shot.
Now, remember what you and I filmed together at Moon Lake? We just showed the clip. Beyond that. Now, very interesting likeness, a little white object. Again, who knows what we're looking at? It doesn't look natural. I don't think anything man-made can do curves like that.
Do you see the black
at those
spot,
speeds?
Tim? I'm seeing a black
that's
spot in the middle.
interesting.
So that means we have extreme hot and extreme cold in the same area.
Exactly.
That's what we're looking at.
Great point. Now, is that an orb that we're looking at?
Well, remember maybe, I don't know. Remember the Aguadilla video from Puerto Rico, 2013, had it was a white thing, and then at the top they had 2 to 3 black parts at the top of the Aguadilla video. Now, the dumbass debunkers say that's a heart-shaped balloon. That's a Chinese lantern. They're absolutely wrong, because with the Chinese lantern filmed in thermal, you will always see the hot spot at the bottom of the Chinese lantern where the fire is. You never see them at the top, because it just doesn't happen. The air in the Chinese lantern is not hotter than the fire below. But these people play these mind games and these tricks trying to trick you into thinking that, but it just doesn't work that way. And now, Chinese lanterns are illegal in Arizona. I've done one controlled test with it, and yeah, that's what happened. You film the fuel source is hot, and it's always at the bottom.
Now, I do find this a little frustrating, because it does feel like the camera is moving rapidly, right? And so it's hard to tell, to be honest, if the camera's moving fast or the object is moving fast, because we know what parallax is. We know it's a real thing. So if you were to fix your imagination on that being an object that's not moving, and that the background is simply moving behind it, it changes the story, right? And so if the camera's perspective is moving around that object at a high pace, that's called parallax. And so theoretically, this could be an object not moving at all. And that supports the balloon theory. We don't have enough information. We need more information.
Well, we do know that
it could be moving at a high pace. Yeah.
This is probably shot from a drone, so it's moving. And yeah, when it's moving, whatever's below it's going to look like this. And well, the balloon, if it's a balloon, it's going to be moving at least, a mile an hour or something, dead wind speed. But it's interesting that they would see this stuff. Just like, I talked on the show that when you start out Skywatcher, you don't know what you're looking at first. You're looking at bags, balloons, sky trash, sometimes UAP, and you got to separate them out. And when you start getting your hands as a military operator controlling one of these, same thing's going to happen. You're going to see a lot of crap, and you got to figure it out. So for this to get forwarded to Arrow and for them to write a report that they're like, what, this is a balloon? Are they sending in balloons? Because if they're sending in every balloon, grocery bag, and piece of trash, our government's never going to get anything done watching millions of balloons collected by all this stuff. And
a lot of when you see the object darting back and forth, that can be the camera moving in, or literally the POV is moving quickly to the left or right. The camera's trying to refix and trying to use autofocus. They're using tracking. There's a lot of moving parts to a piece of video like this that you have to know and have to understand. This is a cropped piece of video. All of the information that we need is cropped out of this particular piece of video. So I can't tell you if it's parallax or not, right? Because all of that information has purposefully been cropped out of this video. So, you know, it's interesting, it's fun to consider, but we don't know enough. And that's why this got thrown away. But again, don't send us partial information, you know, and don't try and deceive Arrow, right? Because everyone wants to defund Arrow as it is. Let's not make them look even worse by putting this kind of garbage out. We know there's better video, right? Because Tom takes it. I take it. And we are laymen getting off the shelf stuff. So let's put the reality back out there. We know that we have satellites tracking them, getting crystal clear video. That's the information that they need to put out to Congress publicly on this topic so that we can have a real discussion and stop giving us wishy-washy maybes.
Well, we're making progress as a community, though, because just maybe 4 years ago, this woman who still isn't fired, Susan Go, she's the UFO cockblocker of everything. So it probably has to go through her, whether it gets posted or not posted. But they wouldn't even tell us the shapes. They were saying so many circles or stars or triangles. They wouldn't even tell us the shape. So at least we got video, which is a big step over those classifying basic shapes of a Lucky Charms box. So we're kind of getting somewhere. I mean, I just can't imagine 15 years from now, Arrow will probably have hundreds, if not thousands, of videos on there. And eventually, one of them won't be shit. I hope. I mean, I see them slowly. There's a bunch of videos on there that look like Go Fast. Go Fast is a real thing because UAPs have to get from here to go to there. So you're going to see them go in a straight line just because it's in a straight line. Oh, that's a balloon, whatever. From people that never served say this. So yeah, we film UFOs all the time that just fly by the camera.
And Tom, I'll give you a little bit of a taster. If you're up for it next week, if you want to have me back on just for a minute, I have the original Project Blue Book files that were unredacted. So there were some that were public, and then there were some that were, if you remember, unredacted. And I have my hands on those. And it talks about, lo and behold, classifying shapes of UFOs, right? And that was Project Blue Book. And guess what? Arrow, when they released their classification, was verbatim out of Project Blue Book. And we're potentially going to discuss that next week. And I can show you right out of the file how it is verbatim what Arrow presented as new information to the American public on what we are considering UFO.
It sounds like a plan. Hopefully I can get this stream up and running better. I'm going to mess with this throughout the week and find out what the hell is going on. I usually have a better luck when I'm just going solo, but we'll get some guests on here. It chokes up, and it shouldn't because I have plenty of bandwidth to handle it. The problem is with Cox is the bandwidth is not, it's going up and down like a bobber. And the only thing running this is this machine. I got everything in this house pretty much powered down to a minimum. So I kind of went through this kind of bullshit when I started, and I was on this other machine. I had some streaming problems, and then I got that locked in for like a couple of dozen episodes in a row. And now that nasty bullshit is back. But yeah, we had a few interesting videos tonight. I can't explain what that thing is in Oklahoma, but it's more piggybacked on from what happened in Louisiana. The Sphere video, we don't know, but hey, if they're faking them, They're not giving up, man. Expect more videos of the sphere coming from Colombia, from people who had nothing to do with the Bugosphere. They're going to come out. I don't know where exactly you get the cash from, because, you know, you got to go out there, create it, go out in the field, cost money. And then where the fuck are these checks? Because I don't know who's writing them. No one's writing any to me. So I don't know how that cash in shit works, but people do fake stuff just to trick people without money. And then after that, we had some Arrow stuff. So who knows what's going on? I doubt Arrow's gonna just come out. I mean, any huge news is going to come out of the president. There is a rumor going around on some online betting thing that the percentage of like Trump declassifying this hit up 90%. I don't know if you've seen that. Did that cross your radar at all this week, Tim?
Oh man, that is not going to happen. That that didn't, but I doubt it so highly. I would love it, but that's not come across my desk.
Well, you know, even if let's say President Trump does come out and you know, he's a transactional guy, he's got to get a buck to do anything. But let's just say he just has to do it, right? But who the hell would eventually become the speaker, like to speak to them? Stephen Greer has appointed himself about 30 years ago U.S. ambassador to the aliens, and that explains a lot of his behavior, why he acts the way he does. But I don't know if it would be Putin, would it be China, would it be our country? Who the hell would represent us as a unified voice to whatever these things are?
I think Elon Musk has probably already done it. I think he's already probably spoken to them. And, you know, a lot of what's going on. Yeah, sure. Why not? Why not Elon
I didn't
Musk?
think about that.
And he probably
not?
Didn't even tell Trump. Trump probably doesn't even know.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
he could get abducted by the Greys and he wouldn't know it. Whitley Strieber said that the Greys stopped the abduction program sometime in the 2000s. And, you know, funny, Bill Maher also knows that. So Bill Maher is like really listening to ufologists to pick up on that little fact that abductions seem to have tapered off in the 2000s. But Whitley offered this caveat that maybe they just are really good at erasing your memories and they're still continuing it, right? So let's say they did abduct Elon Musk. He would be one of the people on the planet that you might want to take that's not a leader. And I don't know what he'd say. Hey, I took all their fucking money. I'm the richest person here, you know, and you know, I'm a half a trillionaire. I don't know. Who knows? All we can do is kind of speculate, but we are moving forward to something. I mean, we are seen videos from Arrow. Hopefully that pressures, let's say, the UK or something to make their shitty version of Arrow and start posting their shitty UK videos that Five Eyes is collecting. So we kind of, you know, set the thing, but I don't know. We might have a war with Venezuela. There's just a lot of shit on the table. That disclosure is just not going to come out this Christmas, you know, with Santa Claus, but it is what it is.
Yeah. You know, I have a friend that operates a telescope at the top of a volcano in Hawaii. I would love to have him come on and talk about near Earth objects sometime, because he totally believes in aliens and you got to wonder why. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, it is. Let's wrap this up. And this was episode 47, 4K Skywatcher. We covered Dan. Starsky now has an online live camera. So the network here is growing of surveillance of citizen science. Tim was back. We'll get this streaming bullshit worked out better on the next episode of 48. And yeah, Tim has the original Project Blue Book files, which would be interesting to compare what's in that versus like what's coming out today with the National UFO Reporting Center. And we all know Blue Book was kind of a cover-up of what was really going on. And they took their best files, and a lot of them they just didn't make public at all, and they kept them to themselves. It's kind of like an old school version of Enigma Labs. You know, you come up as a collection agency, you keep the good shit for yourself, and then you say, here's something to keep people, you know, happy for a little while, like we're doing the appearance of doing something.
Exactly. As long as you're aware that Arrow is absolutely Project Blue Book 2.0.
All right, we'll see you guys next time on 4K Skywatching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for Gobstopper stopping in. I think we got some new stuff. Thomas Michael was here. Dan was in here. Emilio, thanks for being a channel supporter. Yeah, sorry for the freaking leg. Eric, too. Thanks for coming in. Eric Moyer. And let's see if I forgot anybody. Then we probably got a bunch of lurkers. Terry Hall. Thank you, Terry. Need to talk some again. We'll see you guys on the next episode, 4K Skywatching. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Tom King, and this is Tim Senior. Thanks for coming, Tim. Appreciate you. Have a good evening. We're out.
Thanks for having me.